Okay, we should now be recording. This is the 14th session of our Dungeon World campaign. We have a full complement of players, which is handy since this is moving into the end game of the campaign. So without further ado, I'm going to ask the players to introduce themselves and say a little bit about their characters. So, Jay, if you can go first, introduce yourself and say a bit about your character.
So, my name is Jason, and I'm going to be playing Dirkir and Milo for the final time. He is a dwarf who has gone from being part of the Hammerfall clan to another clan who have yet to let him know that he is actually part of it, but also at the same time he has increased from strength to strength. He has got rid of his old guard. He is now fully dedicated to Moog, and most recently he has saved Sanya from the clutches of a giant brain.
Thank you very much. And next we'll move on to Rob, if you can introduce yourself and say a bit about your character.
Sure, I'm Rob the Swamper. I'm playing Glarg, a barbarian from the Northern Island, and he's here basically seeking glorious battles so he can go home and gain prestige within his tribe. And in the last battle, I destroyed said brain.
Okay, we'll next move on to Matthew.
Hello. This guy right here is playing Corinth Fenry, a half-elf ranger who joined the group fairly recently and has got involved in the events of these statues and weird dwarves and big brains and Sanya fire guy with dragons and a little guy who can turn into elementals. It's all going on right here.
Okay.
And last session, he helped take down this weird and a kind of smooth creature that seemed to have everyone puzzled.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to Lloyd.
Hello everyone, I am playing Sanya Kelt, who is a human immolator tortured to become a servant of Kovesh, whom he hates very much, who is slowly waking up after being possessed by a powerful brain creature.
And last but by no means least, the land is sick. Who are you going to call? It's Dennis.
Yeah, I'm Dennis and I play Milo, Thistle, a halfling druid from the Great Forest that we are currently heading to.
Okay, splendid. So we start where we left off last time. You'd all gathered together the unconscious body of Sanya. There was a small white wormling laid on the ground, sort of sat there waiting to spring skyward once again. You just pulled the unconscious body of Sanya, its soul now restored, onto the back of this white wormling. As you pull his body onto the back of this creature, sort of getting ready to lash it on so you can set off into the skies, there was a gasp and his eyes suddenly flew open. So, Sanya, as far as you're aware, you remember being possessed and sort of dragged into the brain of this creature. Then you remember sinking into this deep state of unconsciousness, perhaps a sort of psychic trauma. And the next thing you know, you open your eyes and you're staring up at the sky.
Alright, okay, I'm not burning. Okay, I'm gonna hit fire modern right now. Alright, okay. Hi everyone. Did I miss something?
We're getting ready to leave. Have some water.
Not from you. You give me a minute, Glad. How's everyone else doing? Dirkir?
I am well, thank you, Sanya.
I was getting to you. Should have given me a moment. I'm glad you're well too. Can someone help me down?
No, I can't speak.
As you look around, Sanya, you realise you're sort of laying on the back of this small, sort of white, well, small comparatively, white wormling. At first you think it's your mount, the creature whose will you dominated, but as you sort of look at it, you realise that it's an entirely different creature.
It has bright blue eyes. And it looks at you fondly.
Indeed.
Is that Milo? Wait! Where's Wintertooth? What happened to Winter... What? Will someone please update me as to what's going on and please get me off this thing?
You're muted, Dirkir.
Maybe, Jay, it would help if you unmuted yourself.
Oh, that's right. You were trapped in the brain for quite some time, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Don't mind me.
Your real body went off on Wintertooth as well, but luckily
Alright.
Milo managed to recover your body, and the Thinker took hold of the dragon itself. I managed to rescue your soul from the brain and reattach it to your body.
Oh, thank you. I'm grateful. Good work.
All in a
Thank
day.
goodness for that. Well, let's call Winterfang and get Wintertooth and get busy and get out of here, right? Everyone?
Are we currently flying, John? Is
No,
everyone
you
on
hadn't
board?
set off yet. You'd basically just sort of got everyone on your back and you were about to set off when Sanya woke up.
Okay, then the dragon starts to move. Starts to run.
Okay.
Whoa! A little slower.
You turn your face skyward, about ready to set off, Milo. Your sort of draconic, almost like skull-like face, turning and looking up into the sky, and you see what appear to be a number of large white feathered birds, the shadows being cast over you. They appear to be sort of like circling, and we're talking like pretty big, as in they've got humans riding on the back of them. So they're circling around you and coming into land. The rest of you see the shadows of these great winged beasts fall over you.
Are they like in a aggressive posture towards us?
They don't appear to be. You can see that the glimpses of the people you can see on the back of them. You can see the sun shining off them. They're obviously wearing armour. They have sort of white flowing robes on beneath the armour. But yourself, Sanya, as you sort of look up, shielding your eyes against the sun, you recognise the sort of armour as the sort worn by the city guard of the holy city of Amarana.
Oh, I pull my hood up, pull my things close a little bit more, make sure my bands are all nice and hidden, and I'm like, it's people from the guard, from the Holy City of Mara. They don't seem to be coming in anger, but let's play it safe, everyone.
What do they want with us?
Don't
Okay,
know.
so- Judging from experience, Milo is gonna slow down and do not take off into the sky because he knows that's not good for the rest of them. So he'll keep taxiing around just in case, but he won't take off.
Okay, not a
Just yet.
problem. You get yourself ready to take off, Milo, in your draconic form, and these birds lazily sort of spiral around before coming into land in the snow around yourselves. The sort of the mush, really, of the smiling marshes. This sort of cold, fetid water. You can see as they land, they're actually these large white eagles. Each of them has a single person sat on the back. As they land, what appears to be the leader, wearing slightly sort of fancier armour, slides off the back of one of the eagles and takes off a helmet. As she does so, Sanya, you recognise this woman as being the guard captain that you spoke to previously.
What's Captain Rano? I pull my hood a little bit, just a little bit lower, make sure my hands are definitely not showing. And I'm like, I know this person. They're all right. Give me a minute. I still sit up. What's Captain Rano?
She's sort of like, she's holding up a hand to the rest of the people, telling them to stay where they are. Then she sort of lowers her hand as you call out her name and looks back. You can see she's got a couple of like what look to be reasonably fresh but shallow cuts across her face. She's still got a short cropped hair and a slightly stern look on her face, although there's a little bit of worry creeping into her expression. She walks forward, sort of trying to get a better look at you, not in a threatening way. She's just walking across. You can see she's holding what appears to be a small sphere about the size of a cricket ball. It appears to be made out of some sort of green mineral in her hand. As she walks forward, she's trying to look at you, saying, she says, "I'm sorry, do I know you?"
It's been a while since we spoke. It's not to worry about it. You are what, Captain Rano from the Radiant Wasco from the Holy City of Mara? Welcome. I'm not. What brings you here?
We've received word from the prophetess of Amarana that a great ally of ours, the White Raven, was in some serious danger here. I was able to persuade, at some great personal cost to myself, the Hierophant of Amarana to lend me these troops and these mounts to come here seeking. After all, the White Raven did once help me out and I owe him a debt. and I'm a woman who repays her debts.
The White Raven is dead.
You notice she looks.
We don't know that.
She looks a bit shocked when you say that.
Yes, we
says,
do.
How did it happen?
Well,
yeah, I'm going to just sort of.
I sort of look at him and go, hey Rob, I didn't actually catch any of that. You feedback just as you were speaking. Sorry. Also, nice shirt.
Thanks. So, as I said, I'm going to look over at Dirkir and then at Corinth. You know he is dead. Well, I can't explain it as well as perhaps some of the others can. We were captive amongst the dwarves, some version of Rufus, which had made... I roll my eyes like I feel stupid saying this.
She looks at you when you say that, and she's like, Rufus? Who is Rufus?
An alias we knew him by. He made some sort of deal with an undead creature and attacked the castle in that form. He slayed many dwarves. Then he came here and he wanted to possess the giant brain, and I'm like shaking my head. I can't believe I'm saying this. He wanted to possess the giant brain and use its power for himself. Actually, not for himself, but rather for an undead master he serves, a lich we know by the name of Jasper.
You notice when you say that...
stopped him from doing this.
A sort of brief expression of anger that she controls by an effort of will crosses her face, and a hand almost sort of instinctively goes to some of the cuts on her face. And then she says, then his evil influence has reached even this far south, and she shakes her head. She turns around and looks at her men and says, it appears we're too late, men. That undead fiend has even got here and influenced one of our allies.
Wait.
I go over to Sanya. I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Why didn't you tell me?
You were unconscious. I reach in my pocket and I pull out the coin, Rufus's coin that I took from him, and I give it to Sanya. Maybe Matthew can describe it better, this coin.
Go ahead, Matthew, describe the coin.
So, the coin is one of the coins from the Holy City. It has the royal, the leader, is it the religious leader, John? I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
The Hierophant, yeah, on one side, and then it's got like a picture of the city, like the towers of the city, and the others, and on the towers is like a little R carved into it.
This seemed to mean something to him, and you were his friend. You should have it.
I'll take a deep breath and say nothing, and I'll put the coin back in my pocket quietly. And I'll turn towards Captain Rano and be like, Captain Rano, what is Jasper Circus doing now?
She sighs and says, he's raised a large force of the fallen and was marching south. The Hierophant, warned by the prophetess of Amarana, sent forces to meet him. We're currently engaged against his forces just north of the Blackfire Mountains. We've halted his progress for now, but with every man of ours that falls joins the unholy ranks of his vile undead. We're not sure how long we can hold him for.
It seems there's two challengers as well. This dragon that recently fled from here contains the essence. Perhaps Milo can explain it better. I scratch my head.
What dragon that flee from here? Milo?
Did people dismount, or are they still on me?
Yeah, I'll dismount.
I'm assuming we dismounted, yeah. I'm assuming we dismounted.
Okay. The white worm begins to shrink. The wings will fade into limbs, the limbs will fade into arms, and this naked halfling with the blue hair is standing there.
Watch Captain
like one
Rano
of-
raises an eyebrow at this.
At this point, he's probably
I shrug at it. I shrug at her. You get used to it.
he's probably looking like one of those stupid troll dolls you can get. At this point.
Stick him on a pencil.
He and he looks at Sanya. He took the dragon. The
He
big
took
finger.
Wintertooth?
Yeah.
I told you this before.
Yeah, but I didn't think he'd just take him, like...
I couldn't.
Do you know
I
where he's
couldn't
heading?
catch him.
It's not your fault, Milo. Don't blame yourself. Blinklock. Do you know where he went?
Yes, he went to the forest, the great forest. We need to go.
Of course,
Actually.
the last statue.
At which point, watch Captain Rano
Two
says
statues.
the situation is more grim than you know. We've had word from far and wide. And then she starts as though she's going to explain something to you, and then says, perhaps it's easier for me to show you. And she holds up this spherical gem, this green gem that she's holding.
Pardon my hiccups.
And as she holds it up, she says, this is an item that was given to me by the Hierophant. It allows you to see things at a distance. It's how we've been keeping track of how the battle has been going. And as she looks at you all and says, if you're willing to look, then I will use this device and you'll be able to see what we have been seeing for the past few days. And she looks around at you all.
I take a
I
step
need to
back.
find the last two statues and destroy them, and that will bring their conquest to an end, or they're seeking it.
Show
Milo
me
will
what
certainly
the
take a
green
look.
says. Yeah, I'm down for it.
Okay, she steps in amongst you all and throws this spherical gem on the ground. It smashes, and this sort of green vapour drifts up from it. But it's not the unwholesome, lurid green vapour of the statues and their corruption. This is a more sort of natural green, like healthy, fresh growth. Milo, you can feel sort of the energies of the earth tied up in this thing. It's a very comforting feeling to you. And as this vapour drifts up, for a moment, for all of you, it's as though you're flying high above the land. You can see armies marching across the land. You witness what appears to be a huge force of undead, led by the manically grinning figure of Jasper Sursk, just to the north of the Blackfire Mountains, engaged with the white-clad troops of the holy city of Amarana. But as Watch Captain Rano has described, for every man of theirs that falls in battle, selling their life dearly to combat the necromancer, no sooner have their fallen hit the ground than they are stirred into a hollow mockery of life, and they march in lockstep with the enemy's ranks. Your vision then shifts across to Trademeet. You see beleaguered human forces fighting against what appear to be members of the Hammerfall clan and their allies, but you also see dwarves fighting on the same side as the human defenders. Dirkir, you recognise the dwarves that are fighting with them from their heraldry. You can see that members of the Lightfoot clan are making a stand with the humans of Trademeet and the various other races. Your vision then shifts to the city of Cairn, far to the north on the coast. You watch as the dwarven forces there are slowly crushing the humans, having forced them out of the city. The humans are now fighting a sort of rearguard action. However, as you watch, longboats are arriving on the beaches, and you see what appear to be humans clad in a similar style to Glog, alongside hobgoblins, storming out of these boats, each one of them charging singly up the beaches towards where Cairn resides, fighting against these dwarven forces. Further to the south, you see in the town of Pondmount the last human forces, with what appear to be two armies of Hammerfall and allied dwarves, arrayed against them. As you watch, you see a familiar figure, a small dwarven woman. You recognise it as your old colleague, Dirkir. You can see she's crouched down next to the Mayor of Pondmount. He appears to have an arrow stuck through his chest. He's been injured defending the settlement. He's saying, I've got to get up and help my people. I can't be lying down like this. At which point, Dirkir literally just like pushes him down with a gauntleted hand. And she says, you'll do no one any good if you're dead, Mayor. Don't worry, my friends told me they'd be returning here. They will be. All we've got to do is hold out, Mayor. Just one more day. One more day, that's all we've got to last. And he said, but what good's one day going to do, Dirkir? We're overrun, we can't handle it. And she's like, we'll worry about that then. Let's survive until tomorrow, and we'll worry about the next day after that. Then your vision continues moving further south, rolling across the land, until you see the green leafy boughs of the Black Forest, an environment you know all too well, Milo. You watch as what appears to be a horde of orcs streaming down from the Wallspine Mountains thrashes their way into the Black Forest, cutting and burning all in their path. You see as they sort of hack down these trees, using them to build engines of war, black smoke rising from the burning corpses of the trees. You see the beleaguered natural defenders, the dryads, the treants, mighty individually but few in numbers, struggling to fight back against these orcs. Now, I'm going to ask each of you, is there anywhere in particular that you wish to focus your attention in this tableau that's unfolding? So, Jay, how about yourself?
I would definitely be with the Lightfoots.
Okay, so as this is going on, you focus your attention on trade meat. You can see that the opposing dwarven forces are pretty much fighting in the streets with these human defenders. The only reason the humans seem to be holding out at all is the Lightfoot clan are adept at sort of urban warfare. They're telling them how to shore up the buildings that belong to them. They're using their knowledge of crossbows and such weapons to effectively fight a guerrilla battle against these enemy dwarves moving throughout the streets, and they're advising them on the tactics that the Hammerfall clan will be using. That seems to be really the only thing that the human defenders have going for them at the minute. But steadily, they are being pushed back just due to the overwhelming numbers of these dwarven clans allied against them. You can see there's not only Hammerfall clans there, but there's Bone Mains, various other clans that are allies with the Hammerfalls of old. They have numbers on their side, and the Lightfoot clan has never been a particularly numerous clan. And you can see that the human defenders, there's scant numbers of them left. They're probably not going to hold out for a great deal longer. Okay. So, Glog, how about yourself? Is there anywhere on the map that you choose to focus your attention?
Well, and normally I might say Dowd, but I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on with her right now. So, in Glarg's mind, all these armies, they've got to be fighting for this same cause. There's no way they all converge at this time. It can't not be related to what we're dealing with. So I'm looking for any signs of Jasper, where he might be, at least some signs of generals, any kind of leader that's leading forces that might be a good linchpin to take in, but Jasper in particular.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. So as you're looking, you can see just to the north of the Blackfire Mountains, which is sort of here, you can see what appears to be a vast army of undead fighting against the defenders from the holy city of Amarana. You can see them with their resplendent gleaming armour now splattered and slightly dimmed with blood and other fluids, best not to comprehend too deeply. However, amongst this huge force of undead, which seems to be being led directly by Jasper himself, who is throwing out his magics against the human forces attacking him. It looks as though originally his undead force was marching south, perhaps trying to get through the Blackfire Mountains to where you are now, but they've been set upon by these forces from Amarana. But as was described previously, every time one of the humans falls, Jasper's unholy magic rises them from the grave, their eyes glowing green with this foul necromantic energy, and they join the fight against the humans. Although the humans
Alright, I'm gonna...
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll just because I'm going to point that out to the others. Like this army continues to grow as it advances. So.
Okay. Corinth. Is there anywhere on the map you choose to focus your attention?
Yeah, so Corinth obviously hasn't had the experiences that the other people in this group has. So he's heard a lot about this Jasper Sirsk. He's never seen him. He's never seen his work. So he's probably going to be just looking at him, trying to get a picture of who this thing is. Why do they keep talking about him?
Okay, so as you're sort of peering in this area, you hear Glog's voice saying that Jasper's raising the dead. The human armies are fighting to serve on his side, and you see this tall figure, this skeletal, cadaverous figure with these glowing green lights in his eyes, these sigils in glowing green energy hanging in the air around him. He's being carried on a palanquin made of bone by a shuffling crowd of animated corpses. They're holding him high above their shoulders, and as he sits there, he occasionally throws a hand out, lashing out with bolts of green energy at the human attackers from Amarana. Every time his energy fells one of these humans, no sooner has their body hit the ground than they jerk back into a hideous mockery of life and fall in with his own troops. You can see he has a sort of ripped skull-like smile fixed on his face, and with every human that he raises to serve from the dead, the green energy glowing around him seems to be getting brighter and brighter, and those who oppose him become less and less. In fact, as you watch, you notice that some of the humans actually sort of fleeing the field as they're attacked by the undead animated remnants of their loved ones, their former colleagues. You see the morale of these people is faltering.
So that's what he is.
Okay.
That's what he is.
Sanya, how about yourself?
Normally, I'd be like, I want to know where Jasper Circus is, but at the same time, I have to go try and stop someone from becoming a god and making everything bad. So my attention is on the Black Forest. I need to find where Wintertooth's flying and what its plans are.
Okay, so as you focus on the Black Forest, you see, as I've described previously, these huge armies of orcs sort of pouring out of the World Spine Mountains, hacking into the forests as though they were seeking to destroy it, tearing down ancient trees that have stood for hundreds of years, burning them, sending this pillar of black smoke up into the distance. And as you look at them, you can feel a single will behind them, directing their movements. And as you focus on it, it feels very familiar to you, and you recognise the psychic imprint of the thinker, driving these creatures forwards. And you get, having interfaced with his mind before, you gain a faint echo of his thoughts. He appears to be driving them towards a single goal, a tree of some kind, driving the aggression of these orcs, almost heedless of the damage they're taking as these treants and these fey defenders of the forest pick them off. It doesn't seem to matter, as these creatures are just driven towards one goal, this mighty tree at the centre of the forest. And how about yourself, Milo?
Milo can't help himself and look at the great forest, seeing his friends being cut down, burning, the trees set aflame.
As you watch, you can see that they're slowly cutting their way into the forest. You know that they're getting closer and closer to where the Tree of Visions has its roots at the very centre of the Black Forest. You can see that the defenders that have slept for many years, the ancient treants, etc., are slowly rousing themselves, but there are far too many of their kind to remember the beat of quicker creatures and how to move so quickly. There's never been an attack like this before, as far as you can remember. And you know that the defenders are too few, and too slow to turn back such a monumental tide of foulness that now eats its way into the forest like a cancer.
Yeah, he's looking at the Tree of Visions. I'm guessing he feels the presence of the big finger too in the window too.
In fact, as both yourself and Sanya are watching, you see what appears to be almost like a reflection of the future. It's not yet occurred yet. You can almost feel this winged shadow approaching the Black Forest. And as it gets nearer, this thought, this influence that is beating like a drum in the minds of these orcs, telling them to get to this tree, to hold of this tree. This prerogative is getting stronger and stronger, driving them to ever more madder acts of ferocity.
And then he just stands there, staring in disbelief and horror, with tears running down his face. He can't really form any coherent thoughts or say anything. He's just struck by the horror of this.
Then the vision slowly begins to fade away, and you are all once again stood there with Watch Captain Rano, this mist slowly dissipating, and just the cracked, fragmented remnants of this green crystal globe on the ground.
I am uncertain as to the best target to attack. Do we attack the Lich, or do we go after the Thinker?
Splitting up will not help us either. We have to go up full force at one or the other. The problem is taking out Jasper will not stop the Lich in any form whatsoever. Taking out the Lich will not stop Jasper. Sorry, taking out Jasper will not stop the Thinker in any form whatsoever. Taking out the Thinker wouldn't do the other way around either.
Did you not say to me...
Except that they both are pursuing statues of power. The
Exactly
Thinker,
correct.
we know, heads towards the remaining two. We might be able to take you out and destroy the statues, weakening Jasper.
Watch Captain Rano looks at you all and says, I know some of you by reputation. If you do wish to get in, well, I will place my men and our mounts at your disposal. But I cannot linger here overly long. I need to return to the battle and aid my countrymen.
From what I understand, these statues are the key. From what you've all told.
Yes. I say we go after the Thinker and the statues.
I agree.
Captain Rando, there is a town in the Borderlands that might need your help. Any sources they can take would be useful.
She looks at you and she has sort of a smile on her face, but it's a sad smile. And she looks at you and says, there are many towns in danger at the moment. All I have shown you is a small fragment of what is occurring across this land. Unfortunately, most of our forces are tied up fighting against the Necromancer. If I wish I had the men to send to every town that required our aid, but sadly we do not. But perhaps I can take my men to another place if you think it will help the overall battle.
How many men do you have?
She looks back and she says, I have these 8 men and our mounts, and that is all, I'm afraid. It was all that could be spared.
Glarg, Corinth, Milo, Dirkir. I think you're right in going to the Black Forest. If we stop the Thinker and the 2 statues, we'll stop a basic part of whatever's happening here. But I do not know what effect that will have on Jasper, whether it would weaken him or stop him for that matter. But you're right, it is our best bet, the closest thing we have to stopping this. I say we go there too.
Milo.
He was using one of the statues when we first encountered him, so yeah, I nod.
Milo wiped some tears off, some snot off from his nose. But it's too late.
No, there's one tree left. I saw it. Even if there's just one tree we can save, it's better than nothing. And if we save that and stop the statues, we might save everyone else.
But the statues are, I mean, the big thing is that he couldn't use them anymore anyway, so he's just gonna try to make himself...
No, he said he couldn't use them to attain godhood, but he could still use them to become more powerful.
Yeah. So...
it's worth a shot. Going after Jasper with just us may help the people or may not, but this we know will help everyone.
Watch Captain Rano looks at you and says, I appreciate your desire to remain together as a cohesive fighting unit, but if there is any way I can persuade any of you to come and help in our efforts against the necromancer, and she moves a bit closer to you away from the men and lowers her voice slightly. I do not wish to reveal this in front of my men, but the battle is not going well for us. We've had many deserters, many people I once called friends, now walk in the undead armies of Jasper Source.
Yep.
It is our hope that going after this thinker will weaken Jasper's power.
It won't. We need to stop Jasper before he turns everyone into undead.
So should we split up?
Well,
is that what we do?
I don't think that is a good idea.
Out of character, I don't know if split up is a good idea either, but I don't know how it'll play out of character. I'm never keen to split out of character. That's usually my usual resistance. But in this case, maybe it would help.
I don't know. Glarg, I think battle tactics-wise, he would not want to split up too.
What I know from hunting dangerous creatures, it's better to be a sharp and pointed spear than a blunt dagger. If we divide ourselves of each other, then we're not as strong wherever we are.
No, we need to focus on Jasper. And if we could take out the big finger in Windows 2,
I've seen, while I've been with you, great deeds from the likes of Sanya and Dirkir, of magical means it would seem. Do you not possess some of the tales I've heard about? The things that let you to travel and, call upon aid of your gods. Could you not ask for aid?
Rano looks at you and says, all I can tell you is that if the battle continues going the way it is, then soon Jasper will have a much larger army, and we will not be there to stop him in his march when he decides to move against the rest of the people of this land. It's all we're doing to hold him now.
Am I right that the captain is fighting the Hammerfall clan, or are they just fighting the orcs at the moment?
Watch Captain Rano's people are just fighting against Jasper Source and his undead horde.
Okay.
I mean, you have those flying eagles. Flying eagles.
Guys?
Can you...
Perhaps destroying the statue will sever Jasper's power to the undead.
Weaken him at least.
I doubt that, to be honest. He was building that power even before the statues came out.
Yeah, that wasn't his plan.
He was using the statue. I don't know.
He had another plan. I think...
everyone, can you give me a minute? Just one moment.
I'm gonna gather up some bloodweed.
I'm gonna go to the side. I'm gonna start up a small fire.
Okay, that's not a problem. You can easily do that.
Well, he's doing that.
Oh, go on. Oh yeah, I guess the fire.
They have 8 eagles, right?
That's correct.
9.
Well, they have 9 eagles total because there's the 8 men and Watchdog and Rano. So 9 in total.
Oh, the man, he just a catch. So I make a small fire, like a very small one, and I sort of kneel in front of it. And I'm like, I don't believe I'm doing this. Then I draw the symbol of Kovesh around the fire. Then I sit there and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I take a deep breath, I stare into the fire, and then I say, Kovesh, I don't know how to talk to a god, And I certainly don't know how to talk to you. And I certainly don't want to talk to you. But we are in some form of a bind, and I do not know what to do. There are two forces that if either one wins, they will come for you and take your throne. And as much as I would like to regret this, how much I regret saying this, if either one wins, everyone on this world loses. You're not exactly my favorite god in the world, and I do not have any form of worship for you. But it's through me that you have done so much against these things. And if I do not ask for guidance, and if I do not ask for your guidance, I do not know what to do. Show me in the fire what you wish me to do, and I will stare into the flames.
Okay, so for the purposes of people watching, how does that move work?
I gotta read it. Hang on. It's not the most powerful of moves, but it does give some kind of guidance. When you stare into a source of fire looking for answers, roll wisdom. When a hit, the gym will tell you something new and interesting about the current situation. And at 10+, the gym will give you good detail that is new and interesting about the current situation. On the 7th line, they'll give an impression.
Okay, so you make your roll. Whilst you're doing that, what were you doing, Milo? You said you were doing something while Sonya was staring into the flames.
He kicks him into the flame.
Fuck you!
I mean, he tries. He's not probably not powerful enough to do it.
Why is it like boot me into the fire? Like, why would you do this?
He's only like 30 pounds. I don't know how much force it would be.
Okay, yeah. So while you're doing this, Milo comes and like tries to toe poke you into the fire.
As I reach the end of the fire and I say it, I actually fall in the fire, so I'm in the fire when I get the vision, because I think it'll be way cooler that way anyway.
Cool.
So I'm like,
Kavrex is probably laughing at that.
The embers swirl around you as you sort of stumble forward into this fire, because you were leant forward like looking into the flames, and he's just basically booted you up the arse and sort of sent you forward into this fire. Embers and ash drift up in a cloud around you. What did you get for your roll?
I got 11.
Okay. As you stare into the fire, you're aware of a presence next to you. You and only you see what appears to be this sort of floating stone face in the air in front of you. The surface of it is cracked and you can see molten lava beneath the surface of the stone. Like the stone's just a small crust atop a burning creature within it. And as you watch, you hear a voice saying, "See this, wayward son of mine, and know the shadows of things that may yet come to pass." And as you watch, you see two versions of the future play out. In one of these versions, you all head to the Black Forest, you defeat the Thinker, but in the time that you're doing that, Jasper Sursk slays the rest of the humans from Amarana, gathers them to his undead hall, marches eastwards, burning every village, every town that he comes across, whether it be dwarf, human, hobgoblin, it doesn't seem to matter. And for every person that falls, his army swells and swells, and you watch as this tide of undeath rolls across the land, blanketing it in darkness. In the second version of the future you see, you all head to Jasper's undead horde and defeat him. And you watch, happy in your defeat of Jasper, as his undead fall to the ground. But as you watch, a huge beast, a dragon, a like for which you've never seen before, it makes Whitefang look like a wormling. That's how huge it is. And you will then watch as this dragon, setting out from Black Forest, flies across the land, its breath burning and scorching all beneath it to a cinder.
While he's having that situation, Milo will grab him by whatever he can grab, his hair, and
My toes?
and scream into his flame. "You will not give up now!" And he kicks him in the shin. "I need you to be angry. I need you to burn."
What are you doing?
So you come out of your vision with like basically that Milo like screaming into your face like, "I need you to be angry, you're not giving up yet," so I'm like shaking you.
all right. I'm not giving up. Stop.
You're the only one who can do it. You need to go to Jasper and burn that undead army. You need to set it ablaze.
You're absolutely right. We do need to go to Jasper. And we also do need to go to the Black Forest. I get up and I walk towards everyone else and I go, listen, everyone, I hate to say this, but we're splitting up. I'm going to go fight Jasper. Milo, you have to go save the Black Forest. If we do one, we lose. It doesn't matter which way we go.
Is there no way to lure the dragon out of the forest so we can attack both of them at once?
Not when they're split across the world. Not unless we can find a way to link both places by mystical portals, which none of us know how to do. At least I don't think we know how to do.
Milo nods, looking a little amazed at that shaking people by the throat actually works, but I guess that's how humans communicate.
The kicking into the fire helped.
Yeah, also, ow! Listen, we have to split up. If we don't try and take them both, we might as well have lost. Milo, you know the Black Forest better than anyone. You can go in there and you can find a way to stop him. I'll do what I can to stop Jasper. The question is, where are the rest of us gonna go?
I will go with you. This sword is designed to slay creatures of the undead. It will be most useful there.
But
so you're telling me only Corinth and Milo will go on their own?
No. I was thinking because I can turn into fire too. So maybe it's best that people who can turn into fire and does not get burned by fire might be the best way.
As you're having this discussion, Captain Rano, who's been sort of listening but not really saying anything, says, if what you say is true and it's important that you prevent this creature from reaching the Black Forest, if it means that you will go and help my people, I will take my men and we will do our best to delay this creature from reaching the forest as long as we can. I don't know how much time we'll be able to buy you, but if it will result in you helping my people, then I would gladly do it.
So we grow as a group and take out Jasper first and this creature second.
Yes,
but don't
listen.
Sean?
Yes, Corin.
Can I just ask a quick question? That's out of character, just a quick question. If, just say for example, I'm just curious about something. Say for example, Rob's character came with us, this Glag, would he be able to play the bard in the city? Is that option available to him? Because
effectively what I'm going to do is, if you do split up, I'm going to be sort of jumping between the two groups at the same time.
Right, okay. Yeah. Just wasn't sure if the bard was still there.
It's not strictly speaking chronologically correct, but for dramatic purposes, I'm just going to roll with that.
Yes. Okay. Jasper first, and this creature second. They will hold him off long enough, and then we can defeat it. But I think you are correct in this, Sanya. Both need to I am stopped. To die fighting such a foe, then that is what will be. But perhaps that won't be what happens. Perhaps Jasper will be the one who falls on the end of my sword.
Corin furrows his brow for a second. He thinks when he was looking at Sanya talking to the flames, he's just kind of he's like, Sanya, didn't you tell me at some point that...
Don't finish that sentence.
No, listen. Just let me. I'm not implying that you are Koresh, but you told me this Jasper was marked by your god, right?
Yes.
So can't you just beseech your god to take you to him? To cut the time down? Is that not possible?
Just because it's the same insurance company, it doesn't.
I mean, if he's marked by him, you said that he was in prison, then there's a connection between your god and him.
If we can get, so you're telling me if we get to Jasper right now instead of taking our time to travel, if we can get there right now, we could do it. There is something, John.
Yes.
I would like to do a ritual using Kovesh to write the symbol, and writing the symbol would mean that I can do it, but there's a cost. I need to read the move out to you.
Go ahead.
When you say it, you mean teleporting the lot of us?
Yeah, I can do that.
Well,
Because-
perhaps we should come up with a plan of what to do when that happens before
Yeah,
that
I need to
happens.
know what the cost is first, because depending on what the cost is, I might John can because the cost can be anything. It could be time, could be an item that I value, could be a memory. Depending on that decides whether I do it or not. Because if it's like, well, it'll take you 2 days to do the port, I'm like, well, might just fucking fly there. John, this is the move. Let me just scroll down.
Is it the
I always
standard
read this
sort of
fucking
wizard ritual move?
Yes. It's a standard ritual move, but the GM will always tell you what you have to sacrifice to gain the effect you desire.
Okay, so
I just have to find the
as
fucking
you're sort of
ritual
like beseeching Kavrash for the answer to this, you know that it is within his power to, as Jasper opened a portal, for Kavrash to open a portal to Jasper, especially now that Jasper is linked and marked with his root. However, in order for that to happen, the person who's doing the ritual is going to have to become a vessel for the power of the raw, untempered power of Kavrash. And you know for yourself, you know that when you were given like a bit of Kavrash's power, that you were pretty much told that like, oh, in a few years' time, this power is going to like consume you from the inside out and burn you to nothing. You can only guess that what's going to happen like when his raw power is poured into you. But suffice to say, it's going to cut your future down from years to a lot shorter time. You might, if you're lucky, survive the battle against Jasper, but you really wouldn't think you'd survive for long beyond that.
And only he knows this.
Yep.
He's not asking much, just your life.
Just my life. My wife is dead. And I'm doing something for a god I don't like.
And your
This
best friend is dead.
My best friend is dead. My wife is dead. And I'm doing something for a god I don't like. This is not exactly how I wanted it to pass. I go... Oh, hold on. John, can I change the thing a little? Can I make it so the portal can also stay open and reach the Black Forest? After we're done with the army that we have.
Ping pong.
If you want that to happen, because the likelihood is that, given that you're going to become a vessel for the power of Kavrash, the chances are that you're not going to survive long past the encounter with Jasper, which then means there wouldn't be anyone with the power of Kavrash in them to hold the portal open. So effectively, when you die, someone else is going to have to become the vessel for the power of Kavrash, and likewise they will have a much abbreviated lifespan.
So, what does it look for the rest of us? What he's doing? I mean,
It looks as though he's sort of contemplating, and you notice that his tattoos are now sort of glowing with this pulsing orange light that's shining through his clothes, sort of brighter and dimmer, brighter and dimmer.
Okay, Milo have noticed when that he can draw from fire around him, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And the what's the word? The bonfire that he made earlier, is that still going?
It is indeed.
He'll take a burning branch from that.
Okay.
Kind of look at him.
He's gonna do that. I go, I can open a portal. You're right. And afterwards, I can make the portal open up to the Black Forest. I'll set it up now, and I won't say anything else.
Why are you not listening? And then he pokes him with the fire a bit.
Okay, so after you finish,
Ow! What are you
jabs you
doing?
with a burning stick.
What?
I can turn into a fire elemental, yes?
Yes? You can take the
burn.
fire elemental.
So,
I can
turn
burn
into
you.
a fire elemental, I'll feed you, and you'll burn the undead army, while the others take Wintertooth and does the big thinker. Stop being so stupid, and I poke him again.
Ow! Milo, that's a good plan, but I think this portal plan will work just as well. And we'll get there faster. Alright? I
The
promise.
others will burn!
We'll get, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Just trust me.
Time is the enemy here.
Time is the enemy here, and if we can do them both in the same day, everything will work out. Just
if we can kill these things and triumph.
But
cross that bridge when we come to it.
Clark is more than enough for taking down
Milo,
the finger.
I nod.
Milo, trust me. I've got this. And then I'll start up the ritual, like start making all the preparations, draw the circles, all of that shit.
Okay, not a problem. As he starts doing this, you notice that like the light coming from his tattoos starts getting brighter and brighter, to the point where, as he like finishes this, inscribing these circles and these runes of Kavrash on the ground, then there's a tearing sound, and what appears to be a tear in the sky in front of him opens up. Literally, the fire of these runes, sort of like on his upper torso, burns away the clothes on his upper torso. And you can actually see like wisps of flame and smoke coming out of his tattoos.
A strategy when we get to Jasper. I think we should use tactics similar to what we did with Rufus. Cut a swath through the horde, get straight to the snake and chop off the head.
Sounds like an excellent plan. Dirkir, can I borrow you for a second?
Yeah, of course you can.
I need help with this ritual. Could you come over here
Would you say borrow?
What did
I
you
need
do?
help with this ritual. Sorry, what was that,
What
Milo?
did you do, Sanya? What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I'm just powering up. It's been a while since I let the salamander loose. Just give me a minute.
Anyone
hey,
who
Dirkir.
looks through the tear in the sky, you can see on the other side this battlefield at the feet of the Blackfire Mountains. You can see this huge undead horde clashing with the remnants of the Amanara guard. You can hear the sounds of the battle echoing through it, although no one on the other side appears to have seen this portal.
Dirkir.
So we can see the portal.
Yeah.
Okay, time to
Dirkir.
go, Sanya. I'll turn into
Just
a
1
fire
second.
elemental.
1 second. Dirkir, listen to me very carefully. This is very important, and I shall say it only once. When we go to that portal, I am probably not going to make it. No words. This is quicker this way. But when I die, this portal will stay open, and it can go to the Black Forest, and you can march the entire army there. But you would need to sacrifice a life. No matter what happens, Dirkir, someone needs to die to keep it open. Someone needs to basically become a vessel of Kavesh.
Correct.
Do you understand? Yes. If you can't find someone else to do it, you're gonna have to do it yourself. I'm sorry I have to load this onto you, but I don't think I have much longer to live. I'm not telling the others because it'll make things very complicated, and the last thing I want to do is say goodbye to Milo. Alright? Just
He just
nod.
gives like
Nothing's-
a grunt and a nod.
Alright, we're ready!
Okay, Milo, if you want to make your roll to change into a fire elemental, feel free.
Yeah, I can't find it. Would you say it can fly?
Fire elementals, no, not really.
Okay, can I change it to an air elemental?
Hover, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll do that. That's an 8, so that is 2 holes.
Okay, so describe how you physically change to everyone else.
Okay, so the air around the bonfire will whirl up, and this hot air will envelop him, and kind of like fizzle and pop, and he will disappear in the steam and the air, and this form will take shape like a fire elemental with bright blue eyes, and it will turn to the captain and point to the elf, the barbarian, and the dwarf, and then it will grab Sanya and fly up towards the port.
Okay, that is absolutely fine. So that is what you guys see occurring. And Sanya, as you're picked up by this air elemental, this form of Milo's, and you're carried through the portal. The noise of battle on the other side becomes much louder as you feel a change in the air. It gets colder as you emerge into these more northern climes. You can hear the sounds of people crying out in pain, of weapons clashing, of horses galloping across the field.
Right, let's go confront Jasper for the last time, shall we?
If I can spot Jasper on the battlefield, I'll go for that.
Okay, as you're heading through this portal, you can see sort of in the middle of this undead horde, carried high on this palanquin of bone, sits Jasper Sursk. He's surrounded by what appear to be sort of heavily plate-armoured undead warriors with this green glow in their eyes, although they appear to move with far more intelligence than the shambling hordes that surround them, almost like a sort of elite guard. As you watch, he throws his hand out and a bolt of green fire engulfs one of the human defenders fighting far in front of him. The defender screams and falls to the ground, his flesh bubbling and dropping off the bones. Then no sooner has his body hit the ground than he jerks back to life like some obscene marionette pulled up by the strings of the puppeteer, and he begins to lash around at his once allies with his weapon.
Okay. I'll use a hole to envelop Sanya and then kind of just skybomb directly to Jasper's position. And as soon as we're within risk of being crushed against the ground, I'll use another hole to kind of air cushion our fall. Maybe make a, like they land with a what it's called, like a whirlwind, pushing out, protecting us, hopefully pushing some of his bodyguards away.
Okay.
Are you doing this for all of us?
No, I can only carry one. So only
rats.
Sanya.
Okay, so whilst they're sort of flying through the portal, I'm going to ask, what are the rest of you three guys, Corinth, Glog and Dirkir, doing?
Okay, well, I've got the Fang of White Fang prominently displayed. This is sort of a Glarg preparation battle, a barbarian preparation battle. So he's got the most prominent battle position prominently displayed. I've applied some poison, with something I've recently learned, to the sword, Tears of Moog, and I'm swinging it through the air. And finally I have a little bit of my own blood, which I've put kind of across my chest, and that's a symbol for when we're going into a battle which Glarg, the barbarian, feels there's a good chance he might die in it. Mm-hmm. And to us, Moog Baal is really the god of life, because all the things he brings with the weather are providers of life, the rain and the wind and everything else. So it's a kind of sort of a suggestion to Moog, like, look over me, here I am going into battle and I might be, dying soon, that kind of thing.
Excellent. Okay, so you begin your preparations for the battle. Corinth, what are you doing?
So Corinth will be asking them basically as they go through, does this Jasper have any weaknesses, depending on whoever wants to answer, anything that I should know about him in terms of fighting this thing? It's just the first time I've encountered him. I would have asked Glarg at some point if I could borrow some of his arrows, because I am, shall we say, low.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'll keep 2 and give you the other 18.
Great, I need those. And I'll be asking him what is his foreleg, what to expect. And I sharpen my blades and talk to me, bird.
He is a creature of the undead. He is difficult to kill, but not impossible.
Like those dwarves we encountered.
More durable than that. He also has magics.
Right. I see. And it would seem that Sanya is the key to this battle. He must be protected, correct?
I look at him like, what? Shrug it. What the hell are you talking about?
It seems that fire is the instrument to destroy him.
Perhaps. I suspect this sword will do great damage to him.
Right.
Okay, so how about yourself, Dirkir?
Okay, so Dirkir is going to confine himself in Moog and say that he truly doesn't know what to do in terms of the portal, the fact that Sanya has performed a ritual to Kavresh out of all things. He is willing to sacrifice his life for Moog, but he wants to know exactly what he has to do. So he is going to cast Revelation.
Okay, describe how that works.
So, your deity answers your prayers with a moment of perfect understanding. The GM will shed light on the current situation. When acting on the information, you take +1 forward. And I roll.
Okay, make your roll.
Okay, that's a 7.
Okay, so you see in your moment of revelation, you see exactly what Sanya has planned. You watch the sort of ideal outcome of his plan take place. You see Sanya, with the aid of your friends and yourself, battling against the Lich, Jasper Sursk. You see Sanya's tattoos glowing ever brighter as he fights, as he becomes this vessel for Kabresh's power. You watch as, with the aid of Glorg, he hacks down Jasper Sursk, and you see as you walk back to this portal that's still open, you watch as like the flesh is seared off Sanya's bones and he's reduced to little more than a wisp of smoke. As he falls, the portal begins to waver and begins to shrink. Then you see yourself in this vision, with tattoos similar to Sanya's sort of blaze out as though they're being branded on your skin, and you feel this fire being poured into your soul when the portal once again sort of opens, and you see yourself stepping through to the Black Forest. But you can feel that as Sanya has burnt, you yourself will burn shortly after the matter of the Black Forest is dealt with. However, there is one small ray of hope. In your moment of revelation, you see that the problem with Sanya's plan as it stands is that at the moment, the reason he's going to burn is because he has become the sole vessel for the power of Kavresh, and that power is too much for any one person to bear. But when
surely two people took it on at once.
Indeed, when Kavresh spoke to Sanya, and you sort of feel an echo of that conversation, the god of fire never said that Sanya had to bear the burden alone. He simply said that one person containing his power would burn.
Kavresh being a dick. Hashtag Kavresh being a dick.
Standard.
I forgot to mention one thing, Rob. Sorry, John. When we're going down, Milo is going very fast and kind of like making sure that this flight is as uncomfortable as he can possibly make it to piss off Sanya.
Okay, fair.
Sorry, turbulence.
So he's in his mind. He's thinking that Sanya's rage is part of his power resources. So can I make an 8 other?
You can indeed. Make me a roll plus the number of bonds you have to Sanya.
Ha! Typical. I rolled 2, so yeah, XP for me.
XP!
Okay, so you have pissed him off a bit, but it's not really going to help his abilities. Okay,
Once again,
you should probably remind him that Jasper is his dead wife. That really help.
Well, he
Okay,
can't
so-
speak in
So, Corinth, Glorg, Dirkir, as you're watching through the portal, you can see this air form of Milo carrying the glowing, almost comet-like form of Sanya, sort of dead towards this centre of this undead army, where you can see Jasper sat on this palanquin of bone. You watch as a number of his skeletons carrying bows pull back and raise these bows, pointing them up at this fiery shape hurtling towards their lord and master.
So now that they've pointed him out, it's like literally a glowing arrow. I'm going into full sprint mode. I've got my sword out, held crossways in front of me, and I want to sprint right for this guy. Like,
You might want to wait a little for the impact.
well, I'm figuring you're going to get there long before my sprinting. I'm not the Flash
He's
here.
absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, so Glog, can you make me a defy danger roll? It's your strength because you're like muscling through this crowd.
Right. Ooh. 8.
Okay, you take 2 points of wound damage, ignoring armor. However, you've started to push your way through this crowd. It's going to take you about another 4 rolls if you continue succeeding to get to Jasper. He's right in the middle of this army. Now, Corinth and Dirkir, you see basically Glorgs rush through this portal, and he just rushes past the defenders that you've come in behind, the human defenders, who at first they're like, who the fuck's this man mountain who's just like appeared from nowhere? But then as he rushes past them, pulls out this silver sword and just starts like hacking his way through the undead armies, you hear this from the human defenders.
Right, so Corinth is going to do 2 things at this juncture. He's going to take up the left flank of Glag to try and give him some protection if they start like trying to get around him, and I'll attack with my sword to, you know, help stabilize the path. I'm also going to speak to my bird Sigmund, and I want to do something. I don't know if I can actually do this, John. So my bird has got 2 of its trainings are fight monsters and guard, right? Mm-hmm. Am I able to momentarily donate my animal bonus to Sanya? So the bird's going to fight alongside him and Milo.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Because in Corinth's mind, this guy is literally a mantle of Koresh right now, and he's going to smite down this bad necromancer, so I'm going to provide what aid I can from this distance.
Okay, so what bonus will Sanya be getting for having Sigmund now?
So when Sanya attacks anything, he gets +2 damage.
Okay, so remember that, Sanya, as you're attacking, this owl will be flying in and attacking whenever you are, so you get a +2 bonus.
And it's got quick reflexes and keen senses for anything that comes its way.
Okay, can you please make me a defy danger roll based on your dex, Corin?
Okay. Okay, so it's a 9 + 3, that's 12.
Okay, as you're sending your owl, a hail of arrows from the enemy rains around you. A couple of men around you drop to the ground with arrows sticking out of them. However, you also like step behind the lines and take cover behind the heavily armoured figures, and the arrows patter around you, not injuring you. How about yourself, Dirkir? What are you doing? Corinth and Glog have gone through the portal. Glog's hacking his way through the crowd. Corinth's just dispatched his owl in the direction of Sanya and has sort of dodged out of the way of these arrows that are still raining down.
Okay, I'm gonna try and hold off the horde of undead just a little longer. So I'm gonna throw out my symbol, turn towards the horde, turn undead the shit out of them.
Okay, make your roll.
Oh, I get a 13.
Okay, so as you're sort of hacking your way through the crowd, Glog, Dirkir runs through the portal after you, holding this holy symbol out. And as he runs forward, it's like a wave of energy pushing these undead back, effectively allowing Dirkir, Corinth, and yourself to get even further in without you actually having to hack your way through them. So effectively, you've all got like an extra success to fight your way through. So Corinth and Dirkir are a bit further back, but you've been able to like push further through Glog without having to make another roll, thanks to Dirkir holding out this holy symbol and warding them off.
Cool.
Okay, Sanya,
Good teamwork.
you hurtle through the air towards Jasper Sursk, being carried by the air form of Milo.
I'm slightly angry because this is very turbulent, but I'm doing the best I can to keep myself composed.
You see him on this palanquin. He looks up, obviously sees you because of your glowing tattoos. His skeletal face twists into a smile, and he throws out a hand towards you. A bolt of green light jettisons towards you. Can you please make me a Milo? Can you please make me a Defy Danger Dex roll, since you're the one doing all the maneuvering?
11.
Can I assist him?
It doesn't matter. He succeeded anyway.
Oh, never mind. Okay, carry on.
So as this green bolt of energy lashes out, and you remember the effects of it, having seen it previously, these currents of wind twist, skewing you to one side, and the bolt flashes past you. You see a momentary look of fury on Jasper's face, and you can still see, now you're closer, the mark of Kavresh sort of like almost burnt into his ribs.
And feel this howling anger wind.
Indeed, he hisses something, and the undead surrounding him, wearing heavy plate armour and carrying halberds, also hold their weapons up in your direction. Milo, how do you intend to set him down? Do you intend to set him down? You're in the driving seat, Milo.
Yeah, once we get close, and we are like a few seconds from impact, he's gonna make an air blast, kind of like when you drop a bomb, kind of like it goes like this. And his hope is that it will protect them from the impact and push all the goons aside.
Okay, I will say that if you're willing to sacrifice the rest of your hold, effectively like returning to your normal form, that blast will sort of throw all the undead guards out of the way. Obviously, Jasper being sat down won't get thrown out of the way, but effectively you'll have narrowed it down to just him, yourself, and Sanya for a few rounds.
That's acceptable. I'll use the hole, and the angry wind will land with a blast of wind pushing them back, and
indeed,
the dust.
So as you plummet like a comet, Sanya, with Milo's wind all around you, and you hit this palanquin like a meteor falling from the heavens, there's this almost this explosive blast of air that throws the undead guards like rag dolls into the air. They start picking themselves to their feet, but they're jerky and uncoordinated. You can see that obviously the Lich has called on its powers to maintain his steadiness. He's slowly rising to his feet. As you look down, Sanya, you're effectively stood on this palanquin where Jasper's rising to his feet. You can see Milo looking a little bit exhausted, but now in his naked, halveling form stood next to you. Jasper Circus rises to his feet. He's sort of towering above you. He looks down on you with these two glowing green orbs set deep into his eye socket. You can see this green necromantic energy flickering all around him.
Look up to him and I go, the last time I saw you, you said you wished to kill a god. So I brought one to you. Let's see what you've got.
Nice. Well said.
Okay, make me a Defy Danger roll based on Dex.
Yeah! Based on that, or what's actually doing? So if I do that, because if he's blasting something at me, I'll blast something back.
He's basically just like, because you're on the palanquin near him, he's basically just putting his hand on your chest and like channeling a load of necromantic energy into you.
Oh, excellent! I would like to put his hand on his chest to basically flame on and burn the energy he's putting on me and cancel it out. Can I do that?
You can indeed. So you can make this Defy Danger roll with your flame power.
So good! Love it! That's wisdom! And 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, so he goes to put his hand on your chest. You can see this green fire flickering around his hand, and as this green necromantic energy flares up, almost like a sort of shield of fire blazes out of your tattoos, meeting his energy and sort of holding it steady a couple of inches from your chest. You can see he sort of creases his brow and tries to push his hand through it, and then pulls his hand back with an exclamation of pain as his necromantic energy flares against the true fire, and both cancel each other out.
I look at him again, and I say, you have caused a ton of destruction. You have slain many heroes and many people of my land, and on top of it all that, you had the audacity to bring my own wife back. I have made a deal with the god itself to destroy you, and I will not be denied. Burn in hell, and I'm gonna set him aflame. I'm literally just gonna go,
okay,
and burn him.
Just as you're summoning the fire, obviously you can make a roll for that. That's absolutely fine. As you're summoning the fire, he looks at you and he says, "Do you think you're the first of your number to make a deal with a god? Your friend Rufus already made a deal with me."
One second, let me roll. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To basically, no, hold on. This is a different thing. This is Conjure Flame. So it's 7, 8, 9 because it's intel. Oh, it's con. Yeah, it's 9. I just make it with one tag. Then my tag is just gonna be messy because I wanted to burn heck. Okay. So it's gonna be like a flame in my hand. I'm just gonna go.
Roll your damage.
And I create it in my hand. It's burnt. My hand is basically on fire right now. And I reach up and I go, yes. And for that, I really, really hate you. Almost as much as I'm going to hate doing this to you. And then I'm going to reach my hand out and touch his chest, and try and do the same.
Okay, so make me a roll with your strength, but you can obviously use your flame powers.
No problem.
Whilst he's doing this, Milo, what are you doing? Obviously, you're looking around. You can see the sort of undead bodyguards climbing back to their feet, and they're sort of slowly, like, moving towards you with their weapons held out. It's going to take them a couple of rounds to get there.
Milo's gonna reach out and touch Sanya and use his fire to set himself ablaze and turn into a fire elemental.
Make your roll.
A 7. So I get, what do I get? I get 2 holds. Oh.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is you can spend hold to effectively automatically assist Sanya as though you passed a roll to assist him.
I got a 9. Assist me. I'd really appreciate it.
Okay, so he'll blaze up. Really hot. Really fiery, flamey. And kind of like feed the fire into Sanya.
Okay, so you feel this heat at your back, Sanya, and as you sort of glance around, you see Milo turn into this huge column of flame that's vaguely humanoid. He reaches out and places a burning hand on your shoulder, and you feel this almost boost of power as this pure natural fire flows into you. Your tattoos flare so brightly that even back in the line, Glarg, Dirkir, Corinth, you see this blazing light emanating from Sanya.
That's what I'm talking about.
I go full Kavesh and I get a 10 to hit him.
Okay, roll your damage.
Do I get you plus 2?
Is that to damage? I'll take his damage. Fucking find the D8.
Yeah, the plus 2 is from the bird.
Oh, cool. So I got a 5, 6, 7 then.
Okay, your flame ripples around Jasper Sirsk, and you see bits of his flesh burning off. However, he remains standing on his feet. He rises, seeming to grow in stature, and his booming voice echoes across the battlefield, and he says, "What use is flesh to me?" He's sort of like walking forward with this fire burning his skin and what remains of his flesh off his bone as he steps further towards you.
Can I go quickly?
Yep.
I'll look at him, I'll sort of cock my head, and I'd be like, I'd probably say, huh, that's a good point. And I'll change the color of the flame to black. The black flames have a very special mode of doing. In the black flames, let me double read it quickly so I don't make a mistake. When you summon fire from your moves, you can replace it with the black fire of hell itself. The fire does not burn with heat and ignores armor, scorching the soul of the creatures without what's within it. So instead of me burning him, I'm burning whatever soul entity he has.
Okay, do you have to make a roll to format?
Nope, I just switch it.
Okay, so make an attack roll.
Hack and slash again?
Yep.
9 plus, I'm using my flame, so that's an 11.
Okay, I'm also going to ask Glog, can you make me another strength roll to carry on hacking your way through the crowd?
Yeah, well, I got Current helped me on one side, and Jerky helped me on the other. I got an 11.
Okay, so you're pushing your way through the crowd. You're basically like another couple of ranks to get through before you've reached the centre where this mighty clash is going on. Dirkir and Corinth, are you following him through this path that he's making?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Ain't no stopping this Clark train.
okay, Corinth and Dirkir, as you're just about to follow through the path of logs, carving through. Dirkir, you're concentrated on maintaining your turn
Yeah.
there. However, Corinth, as you look around, you can see the defenders of the human warriors of Amarana a little bit further back. You can almost see that they appear to be a little bit unsure as to whether to pour into this column that Glog has created, this gap has created. But they don't know you. They obviously want to follow you, but they need that sort of that little bit of a boost to sort of get them to all pile in, because this is all happening so quickly as far as they're concerned. 1 minute they're fighting, the next is this huge barbarian hacking his way through the crowd towards the enemy. They're like, should we follow him? The whole position. You can see that perhaps their commander has been killed recently, and there's no one really giving orders to them. That's what you see, Colin.
Can I ask a question then? Okay, so public speaking isn't Corinth's thing, but is there? It's obviously this is a question, John. Only maybe you would know, or maybe Sanya would know. Is there some kind of bird or animal associated with this city that has some kind of religious, relevance?
Yes, it's the white eagle.
The white eagle. And would I be aware of this? Is this like a common thing?
Make me a stat law roll.
Well, the people that came from here came on big white eagles. So
Why would this happen to me now? Is this intelligence?
Yeah.
Yes.
I got 2.
You think there's maybe some sort of animal? You're not sure what it is.
What I'll do is, as I'm hacking, I'll shout.
What's an eagle?
I'll shout to Dirkir. Because obviously I don't know. What is the creature associated with this city? Do you know? As I'm looking around.
Would I know?
Make me an intelligence roll.
What's the name of this bird? As this white eagle flies in the background next to you guys, like,
Okay.
hey guys.
That's better. So an 8.
Yeah, you know that it's the white eagle of Amarana.
It is the white eagle of Amarana, Corinth.
Right. Okay. So what I can do?
You only get half points. It took a little while to answer.
Yeah. Well, half an XP. Because I have. So I've got this thing. I can speak and understand with animals, right?
Yeah.
What I'm going to do at the bellow at the top of my voice, and basically I'm going to try and summon any white eagle in the area, and basically have it to land on Glag's shoulder, just as a symbolic kind of thing, as we are doing the city's work.
Okay, now as a ranger, I'm going to ask you to make me a wisdom roll. Because that is cool as.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Batman thing,
So wisdom. Well, it's not too bad. Where's? So that's an 8. Not amazing, but.
Okay, so Corinth sort of shouts out this strange sort of like clawing sort of noise that you obviously hear is a bit ahead of in Glog and Dirkir. Dirkir, you might recognise it sounds a bit like an eagle, but you're not really thinking about it because you're concentrating on maintaining this turn there. When suddenly you see this, you hear this, and this shadow falls over Glog where he's running. As you glance up Glog, you see this large eagle, its feathers as white and as pure as snow, flying, sort of hovering above you in this battlefield. As that happens...
Okay.
Okay.
I was just going to say that I might not know that Corinth did this, but I would see it as a good sign. Moog is helping.
Indeed. And as that occurs, you hear a cry from and a cheer from the defenders as they see it as a sign of their deity. And as you're sort of listening and looking back, Glog, hacking your way through this crowd of undead, you watch as the defenders of Amarana pour into the gap that you've created through this undead horde, seemingly invigorated by the presence of their patron animal, as they begin pouring into this gap and like hacking into these undead with renewed vigour, and you guys are able to push one step closer. Glog, you're like one rank away from this palanquin now, where you can see the burning figure of Sanya and Jasper Sursk. Did you make your damage roll? Your attack roll?
Yep, I got an 8, and if the bird gives me a +2, that's a 10.
Okay, so your attack is enough to stagger Jasper and nearly cause him to fall. He's obviously taken some severe damage, so describe how your attack is. He's not dead yet, but he's on his last legs.
So I reached out and touched. He was like, "What uses was a fire to my flesh to me?" And I'm like, "That's a good point." And when I reached out and touched him, the planes turned this out this like black outline, and they run around him in a circle. But when they come up to the top of his head, there is like an image of the statue of Moog, or not Moog, of Kavesh itself, just like slamming onto his face, and like that whole bit burns. And he sort of like reaches up and goes, "Ah!" and like still stumbles backwards from the pain.
Indeed.
And then I go, "I told you, I brought a god to kill you. Do you think me a liar?"
Indeed, he screams and he falls backwards and throwing his hand out. Just this wave of green necromantic energy washes out from him. Milo and Sanya, you both make me dex rolls.
Uh-oh.
I have
XP!
Okay, no problems. Right, anyone who failed that roll, you take 11 wounds damage, ignoring
Oh god!
There's just this wave of necromantic energy rush.
Ooh, I'll take that 11 damage because it activates this bad boy.
Can I try to burn him as well, John?
You can indeed make me a strength roll.
That'll be 4 tags.
A fire elemental has attack messy. What does that?
Basically,
how
just means
does
when you
that-
do damage, it's messy. It's just a description.
Yeah, like it burns off his flesh and such. It's more descriptive than anything else.
Yeah,
because I was
okay.
going for the description of burning into nothing over that, so he suffers.
So a strength is 9.
Okay, roll your damage.
Ooh, no, he'll be fine. 'Cause I can't. Can I assist? Because he's next to me, and he's made of fire.
Not really, because you're concentrating on maintaining your own attack.
That's a good point.
Okay, I do 5 points of fire damage.
Okay, however, you also take 11 points of damage, ignoring armor. So what happens is you've actually killed Jasper Sursk, Milo. However, as you sort of like, you embrace him with your fire, he also flares up his own necromantic powers, damaging you. So describe how that occurs.
Okay, so Milo will, the fire elemental Milo will reach up and burn very bright, kind of like feeding from itself and feeding from the fire coming from Sanya and Karash, and grow very, very hot, almost like white hot, and shoot out, kind of like a flamethrower, wrapping around the necromancer, enveloping him in flames. You can hear the bones crackle and pop, and as he is, what is the word? Burned,
Okay.
lost in the flames, he will shoot back this green energy and will kind of like travel along the fire and shoot into the fire elemental, burning it very bright green.
Okay, so Sanya, as you watch, and Glog, Dirkir and Corinth, as you hack your way through the last of these undead, aided by the defenders of Amarana, you see in this mixture of swirling green and almost white hot fire, these two figures sort of like locked together, like almost trying to like strangle each other. One of them is like the small figure of Milo. You can see like bits of his flesh like being singed and smoke wisping up, and the other is Jasper. However, as you watch, incredibly, this diminutive figure of Milo, pretty much like with his hands locked around Jasper's neck, like forces the necromancer down onto his knees, and as the fire flares out and sort of dies, you can see the horribly burned like naked figure of Milo with his arms around Jasper's neck as he sort of like forces him down to the ground. You see the lights fading out of Jasper's eyes, and he's like, "No, a halfling will not."
I'll lean down to him and go, "Shh, shh. Only dreams now. Only dreams."
He looks at you, and for a few moments, like his eyes flare bright green as you see like raw hatred in his eyes. And then as Milo sort of like twists slightly, there's this, and Jasper's head twists to one side, and the light just fades out of his eyes entirely.
Give Kavesh my regards. Okay, two things. One, is the undead army still going?
The undead army has slowly started to crumble and fall to the ground. There is a rousing cheer from the defenders, and you hear the horns of the defenders of Amarana being blown to signal victory. The ones that are behind you, Glog, you hear them shouting, "The champion of the White Eagle has delivered us!" And they sort of cheer.
No appreciation again.
What form is Milo in at the moment?
Milo's just stood there as himself. There's bits of his skin burnt off. His hair's almost burnt away. But he's basically sort of like holding the now dead and decaying form of like Jasper like in his hands.
Okay, so I'm going to lift Milo, who's holding the dead Jasper, up.
He's probably very hot at the moment.
Yeah.
He's hot to the touch, but you like lift him up. There's another mighty cheer from the defenders. Sanya, as you're watching this, you feel a sharp pain.
Well, I'm looking at Sanya because I have an idea of the sacrifice.
I will rush to Sanya.
As you're looking at Sanya, you see his tattoos are glowing brighter, and like wisps of smoke as his flesh has started to burn and sort of singe around them.
So, I know I'm running out of time, so what I'm going to say, what I'd like to do is that I'd like to start burning the bodies, like, around me of all the undead to make sure they're completely gone. And as I do, I'm going to yell, "Know this, people of Amara! Know that one of your own prisoners, I, Sanya Kelt, have come to deliver you. I hope you take the fact that you sent me away, innocent man to burn, rots you to your core, and you send it to your graves. Know that I've risked my life to save you at my own expense of my death. And I hope you burn in hell for it."
As he says this, Sanya holds out his hands and these flames erupt from the ground, consuming the corrupted bodies of these fallen undead. The sounds of the battle start to fade away. As first of all, people are like cheering and they're like, "Yeah!" Sanya's like, "No, this one of your own has killed these." And then as he's like, "Oh, I hope you all rot in hell," and the fact that you sent me away, they're sort of lowering their weapons and looking a little confused. Some of them look a little bit ashamed as they look at it.
Now I can die.
The rest of you see Sanya, like as he's sending this fire out, sort of falls to his knees. You can see his skin has started to burn away into like wisps of ash, bones showing through on several parts of his body now.
I'm watching all this intently. I'm trying to remember every detail so that when I next see a bard, I can tell him the whole tale.
Okay.
Milo will scream, "No! He will not go!" And he'll do what he can to wiggle out of Clark's. He'll stomp on Clark's head.
Yeah, I'll let you go.
Yeah, you wriggle out of Glog's grasp and you run over to Sanya. Sanya, you're on your knees. You can feel like this is the end. You feel the fires consuming your soul. Milo runs over to you and he's like, "No."
Milo, hey, I'm sorry, but this was the only way to get to both Jasper and the Black Forest at the same time. Just so don't worry about me.
No,
I just wanna sleep.
he grabs his arm and kind of like the hand falls to ash in his, and he's.
It's okay.
You can go now.
It's not my. Honestly, I've been living on borrowed time since the day I met you. Just one last thing. You will always be my sky buddy, okay?
And as he says this, there's this loud explosion and Sanya just sort of shatters into fragments of ash and dust that sort of blow apart in this huge cloud of embers and dust, leaving you just there, Milo, sort of almost on your knees yourself, with just this last few lingering fragments of ash staining the inside of your hands.
Yeah, completely covered in the ash that used to be his friend.
Dirkir, as you're sort of stood there, you're sort of a little bit at the back of this group, you almost know what's coming. You look around and you can see that the portal has started to flicker and sort of slowly started to collapse.
Yeah, I sort of struggle forward if there's anybody in front of me with my hammer out and say, "Okay then, Kavresh, you fiery bastard. You got me good. now I deliver my part of the bargain.
Okay, and as Dirkir says this, he sort of smashes his hammer down into the ashen remnants of Sanya. You see these glowing lines of fire form on the head of this hammer, and they seem to move up onto the flesh of Dirkir, forming lines and shapes which are very reminiscent of Sanya's tattoos, and they start pulsing with this burning amber light. You can feel that it feels as though your soul has been set on fire, Dirkir. You can feel a great strength, but you know that at the same time this strength is consuming you. The portal ceases to shrink and grows back to its former proportions. However, beyond it, the scenery seems to flicker, and it now depicts a forest on the other side, a forest that you recognise oh so well, Milo. But there's ash and smoke rising above the trees of the black forest. You can hear the cries of orcs grunting on the other side, and you can almost hear the weeping of the trees themselves.
Okay. Before I go through, I'm going to power up my weapon in a rather magical manner.
Splendid.
I will ask before we go through. I'll turn to Dirkir and be like, since you are not for Galen, you've proven this much. Is there anything I can do to help with what you're doing? I didn't think that you could pick up the mantle of Koresh, being a follower of Morg. If it'll do the same to you.
You're muted, Dirkir.
You're muted.
Sorry. All I know is that I have limited time. As long as I smash the things in there and you reach what you need to reach, then I'll be satisfied.
Very well.
Milo probably looks more like a darkling at this point, covered in soot and ash, completely black. But
Indeed, if you think of like a very angry Victorian chimney sweep, that's pretty much what Milo looks like to me.
I'm going to go over to Milo and say, remember, but more later, we have one more task to do first.
Okay, Corinth, what are you thinking about these crazy shenanigans that are going on? Obviously, the defenders of Amarana are all sort of like, a lot of them are cheering, some of them are looking a little bit confused. Obviously, they're all happy that Jasper Sirsk is no more and the undead army's stopped, but it seems as though, certainly for some of them, Sanya's final speech has given them pause for thought.
Pause for thought.
A lot of them are looking like quite ashamed and a bit sheepish.
Well, now he's had a moment to just take a look. He's just kind of, it feels like out of place. The towers, the graveyards, you know, all these buildings. He's not used to this kind of scenery. It makes him feel like he's, you know, wandered into another world. But one thing he knows for sure is that Sanya, he was a vessel of Koresh, despite what he said. He did his Lord's work, and it was impressive to witness.
Okay, the portal is open to the Black Forest. What are you guys doing?
Going through.
Well, yeah, I'm pulling Milo through, and yeah, I'm going through, ready to fight this thinker again and finish it once and for all.
It's not like allowed to be impatient.
Okay, not a problem. You guys charge through the portal, assuming you're all going. And as you head onto the other side, you're amidst what was once a verdant and life-giving forest. However, you can see it's now full of these dark, green-skinned orcs that are hacking with axes and fire, burning their way into the black forest. And then as you watch, you hear what appears to be a roar of triumph, or perhaps victory, from the centre of the forest.
Well, that's what I'm heading for.
Follow the army of the White Eagle. Come with us.
Make me a charisma roll.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Well, they already said that they were willing to help. So
Why, John? This is going to have to be amazing.
that is a 2. You got a 3.
I got a 3, but I got a -1 charisma, so it's a 2.
Oh my God!
Okay, he's like, Army of the White Eagle, follow me. You notice that they're sort of like, should we stay and clear this up? Or they look a little bit unsure, because like, you're asking them to just like jump through a magical portal. Some of them seem willing.
Sort of intimidation, like move.
I tell you what, you can.
Yeah, I'll also do that as well.
Okay, the two of you, Dirkir and Glog, because you've demonstrated your prowess as warriors, I'm going to say you can make a roll with your strength to sort of try and lead by example.
If Captain Renner's with us, can she assist as well? Because she's obviously helping us.
Yep.
13
you both get
boyos.
+1 to your roll.
How about
They're
this?
40.
I have Mark of Might. When you take this move and spend some uninterrupted time reflecting on your past glories, you may mark yourself with a symbol of your power. Any intelligent mortal creature sees this symbol, knows you are a force to be reckoned with, and treats you appropriately. So, I might suggest that what I've done and this fang, a white fang I'm carrying around, should suffice to convince them.
That is absolutely fine. So describe how you draw this symbol and what you say to them to rally them.
Yes. So I say, the job is not yet over. One victory does not win the war. Get through that portal now.
Okay, and as you say that, you see these shapes in the air above you, and you see the white eagles of Captain Rano hovering in the air above you, and you hear a booming voice shout down, "These people have sacrificed their very souls and their lives to help us win victory here today. We should be ashamed of ourselves if we did not do likewise." At which point, a loud, in response to Uglog and her, a loud cheer goes up from the defenders, and they pretty much all fall in behind you, marching towards this portal. This huge army of gleaming armoured troops with their white robes splattered with blood, they begin marching towards this portal.
So, I'm going to tell them to concentrate on the orcs and stuff like that. When we get through, I'm going to head right for this center.
Okay.
Boss.
The army... Sorry, go ahead, Milo.
Milo's running through the forest. Kind of like, for the first time ever, he's really angry. He kind of like feel that pain that he sometimes glanced in Sanya, and he's really pissed. And he's running through the forest. He feels the little pricks of the branches on the ground, and he hears the hacking of the trees, the cutting down of his furry friends.
Indeed, a swirling melee has immediately broken out on the other side of the portal. As this army's poured through, you hear the cries of the orcs and the humans alike as they engage with them. You hear the war horns of the defenders of Amarana sounding, the sound of their horses as they through, and blades clashing. As you run
he'll shapeshift into a really pissed worm, and as he runs, he shapeshifts into this worm. He folds the wings back, and kind of as he reaches Clark and Corinth and Dirkir, he grabs them as he leaps into the air with the claws, falls out the wings, and goes straight to the two visions.
Okay, so what happens to the rest of you guys is basically Milo runs in behind you through the portal, leaps with surprising agility into the air above the three of you. As he does, he transforms into this white wormling, pretty much grabbing you guys with his claws and flying you towards the centre of the forest. As you're watching, as you soar above the trees, you see in this huge central tree with this dark bark that's almost as black as night, you can see that this creature, this white tooth, this dragon that once carried Sanya skyward, appears to have its mouth clamped around the trunk of this tree. And as you watch, you can feel, Milo, the natural energy pouring into it. This dragon begins to shift and twist, growing larger and larger as you get closer, until it dwarfs the great white worm which you fought previously. It turns its head towards you as you fly towards it, Milo, and you hear this deep booming. Ha 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 ha. You are too late.
If it's possible, he'll sweep down and deliver his friends on the back of this giant worm and go straight for the truth himself.
Yeah, I'll just leap off, sword at the ready.
Dropping off your friends, not a problem. You just drop them off as you fly over it. This thing's massive. You guys land on its scaly hide. If you're going to attack it, Milo, can you make me a strength roll?
Yeah. I rolled a 6. That's XP for me.
Grab some of that XP, you know. Okay, can you please make me a constitution roll, Milo?
Ooh, how much better that? Yeah, 14.
Okay, this creature snaps its huge jaws at you, but although you're much smaller, you're much more agile and you're able to bank to one side, avoiding its toothy grasp. Okay, Corinth, you've been dropped off onto the back of this huge dragon that appears to have this almost like iron-like thick, scaly hide. What are you doing?
Right here. So, I have this thing, John, that I got last session. The bardic law things of bestiary of creatures unusual. What I'm going to ask you is, from the tales I've been told from the travellers, for the people in the village, is there any known weaknesses to these kind of worms, dragons, whichever they are, count at the moment?
Okay, you know that this creature before you bears a striking resemblance to some almost sort of end-of-the-world style tale, speaking a dragon of the apocalypse, which will appear in the final days of this world. It's rumoured that only one of these creatures has appeared before, and a mighty hero entered literally the belly of the beast, since it's well armoured on the outside, but not on the inside. However, its very being is poisonous to the world, hence its name, and the brave heroes have basically dived into its gullet and killed it from the inside, perished soon after from the poison that was inherent in its being.
Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out my short sword, and I'm going to attempt to cut a small hole into the creature's hide.
Okay, can you make me a strength roll, please?
A strength roll? No, I really... Oh, God, get out of the way. That's not going to be great. So I got 6 plus 2, so that's 8.
Okay, you stab into it and you do manage to prise off one of its scales and cut a small hole in it. However, as you do, this black blood jettisons out of it and sort of covers you, and you feel it sort of like weakening you and like sapping your energy away. As though it's some sort of noxious poison. You take 6 wounds of damage, ignoring armor.
Damn it! Why do I always get hit by the things that ignore armor? Okay. Okay, great.
Okay, so Glorg and Dirkir, if you're dropped on the back of this thing, you see Corinth slice a small hole in it, prizing one of its scales, and then there's this jet of this ichor that covers him, and you can see it sort of like seeping into his skin. He looks extremely pained, as though acid had been poured on him.
I will educate myself on that knowledge that it does that when you stab. When I jump off, so in the few moments I was flying towards it, I'm going to have affixed the boot spikes I had before for when I fought the other white firm, just to help me give a better grip. And I'll have Milo drop me at like a thin part, like a thinner part, like the neck or something. Yeah, and I'm going to try and like put my sword right through it. I'm using 2 hands on the hilt. I'm trying to push the sword right through it.
Okay, make me a strength roll.
9.
Okay, roll your damage. The creature roars in pain and stabs its neck.
Oh, look at that, max damage. So 12 plus 4 is 16.
Okay, however, you also take 5 wounds of damage, ignoring armor, as this blood fountains out onto you. And like I say, it feels like acid, but the creature roars in pain.
Okay, I had poison applied to it. Now, I don't know how you're going to rule this, but basically what it does is it's going to do minus 1d4 less damage.
Okay, so you were taking 1 less damage in this.
Okay.
Okay, Dirkir, you've seen all this going on. You're obviously on this apocalypse dragon yourself. What are you doing? You can see
Okay.
Glog's put the serious hurt on this thing.
Yeah, I'm not able to hurt it that much unless I sort of try and batter it with my hammer, but I can certainly stop it from doing much else at this point. So I'm going to sort of lean my hammer on it, kind of pressing into it, and I'm going to pray as hard as I can to Moog and cast Sever.
Okay, and what effect will that have?
So I choose an appendage on the target, such as an arm, tentacle, or wing. The appendage is magically severed from their body, causing no damage, but considerable pain. Missing an appendage may, for example, keep a winged creature from flying or a bull from goring on you with its horns. All the spells I'm going to take -1 to cast a spell.
Nice.
Yeah, but since the last one I did was Revelation, I get a +1 to this specific spell.
Excellent. So which appendage are you trying to sever?
I'll do the wings.
Okay, go for it.
Oh, okay.
I think it may
very,
be
very
a
good.
wing, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming it would be
Yeah.
like one wing.
What did you get for your roll?
Okay, so 14.
Okay, so Glog, as you're stabbing this thing, you can see it starts to flap its wings as though it's getting ready to soar skyward, where it has the advantage and you guys don't. However, as it's sort of beating its wings, you see Dirkir sort of leap off the back of it and almost like slide down the wing with the hammer, like severing it neatly as though a knife going through butter. This, obviously you're no longer on the back of it, Dirkir, but this wing is entirely severed. There's a as it like drops a few inches back to the ground, no longer able to fly. Okay, so
Awesome.
for its action, now no longer able to fly, what it's going to do is it's going to effectively try and roll over to crush you guys, since you're on its back. So can any of you who are trying to like jump off it to avoid this damage, can you make me a defy danger roll versus Dex? You don't have to do it if you've already leapt off it.
Can I do something else?
You can indeed.
So I want to come off it, but I want to come off it in a stylishly half-roguey way, half-elven way. So what I want to do, I want to stab that sword into that gap, and using the momentum of its roll, kind of draw that sword across it to widen it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, make me a strength roll.
Strength isn't my greatest forte, but we'll have a go. 9 total.
Okay, that's fine. So you are thrown off it and you will take damage. However, you have widened this sort of like wound on it, almost larger for a person to get through. So,
Yeah.
what did you get for your Dex roll, Glog?
7.
Okay, so I'm going to ask at this point, Lloyd, can you please roll me 2d12 and tell me what the highest number is you get on one of them?
Sorry guys, I love you. Okay, maybe that'll be good. 5 is the highest number I got, because apparently I can roll 4 and a 5. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Corinth, you take 14 points of damage, ignoring armor. As this thing literally rolls over with you guys. Glog, you only take 7.
Okay.
This thing rolls over. Glog, you're able to get out of the way and you just sort of get clipped by it. Corinth, you're pretty much rolled under it. However, are you still alive, Corinth, at this point?
No.
Okay.
I have exactly 14 health.
Okay, so do you have any stirring last words? You disappear under the...
Yeah. It's weaker on the inside. Just
Okay,
kinda...
so Glog,
Stop
as you
going
sort of
down.
dive off him, you see as Corinth disappears into the bulk of this dragon, you can see as he drags his sword down, he's made this large tear in its hide, and as he's pulled underneath it, you hear the cracking of bone and sinew as he's crushed. You hear him scream out, "It's weaker on the inside!" And then this thing rolls over him and he disappears.
I was about to do something awesome as well.
Okay, Dirkir, what are you doing?
Well, I was gonna, as soon as I heard that sort of last gasp, I was very tempted to rush over and try and, well, get him back essentially.
Well, however, since
But-
this thing has rolled over, it's effectively rolled off the body of Corinth, because it's not just like roll over and then get, "Oh, I'm going to stay here just to like rub Corinth's face in it. It's just literally rolled over. So you can basically see his like flattened and crushed body like lying on the ground.
I wasn't sure if it would be possible, but I still rush over anyway.
Okay,
See just
you
how
rush
badly he's
over
been
to him.
crushed.
That's fine. What are you doing as you get to him?
Well, I'm going to put my fingers on his head, or what's left of his head.
It's still there, he's just a bit two-dimensional.
I plead to Moog to bring some solidarity back into himself and bring Corinth back.
Okay, are you casting
How
a spell?
does the last breath rule work? Because isn't there a last breath rule or something?
No,
There
this
is,
is
but
something
there is, but
different.
it depends on whether he actually dies or not, since he's got a little bit of time. Since he'd be dying in this round.
Oh, okay.
To the end of this round.
Seeing you
Gotcha.
soon, Sanya, buddy. Seeing you soon.
That's 11.
Okay, what spell are you casting?
I'm casting Resurrection.
Nice. Describe how that works.
Okay, so you give me one or more, possibly all these conditions to fulfill. So either I have to get an extra +2 modifier to succeed, because it's talented. It's going to take several days, weeks, months, blah blah, or I must get help from so and so. It will require lots of money, or I must sacrifice blah to do it.
Okay, I'm going to say that you, as you're sort of casting this spell, you can see that your friend Corinth is stood on these bleak, desolate, ashen shores. The barge of the ferryman, Death himself, is poling towards him. You can see that someone is going to have to step onto that barge.
Damn.
However, it doesn't necessarily have to be Corinth. And you know yourself that given that you're invested with Koresh's power, you're not going to live for long beyond this battle.
Push the dragon.
No. Okay. Okay. I sort of do a small smile under my beard, which is now considerably hairy, and I'm going to look at the ferryman and say, well, I suppose one good life deserves another.
Okay, so Corinth, you're just aware of this bowel-shattering pain as you're crushed by this dragon. Then you're stood on these washed-out, charcoal-coloured shores, and you can see this ferryman with his skull face pulling towards you, and you know that death is coming for you. Then, as if from nowhere, from the mists that are at your back, Dirkir steps out of the mists and says, with a smile, well, I suppose one good life deserves another. The ferryman is sort of reaching his skeletal hand out towards you, Corinth, then moves his hand and gestures to you, Dirkir.
He doesn't deserve to die yet. Take me instead.
It is not my place to determine who deserves to die, says the skeleton. But one must enter my barge. It is not my
Then
job
I
to
will
decide
enter
who.
your barge.
Then step aboard.
Dirkir, what's going on? Where are we?
You will soon forget about this, Corinth. But at least, well, I hope that you remember me.
What do you
Okay,
mean?
so Dirkir, you
We
step
had-
onto the barge.
I do. I don't really say much else. I make I sort of clasp my holy symbol to my chest and feel the final presence of Moog in order to guide me across well, and I do indeed step into the barge.
As you step onto the barge, you can't really see the skeletal face of the ferryman, but you can almost feel a smile on his face. And then an almost sort of friendly voice, the ferryman says, "Don't worry, Moog has a place prepared for you." Then saying that, he again reaches out the skeletal finger, touches it to your forehead, Corinth, and says, "You are not my concern. Leave my domain." And as he says that, you suddenly take an intake of breath, Corinth, as you wake up fully healed of all of your injuries. But as you look around, you can see the dead body of Dirkir lying next to you, his hand still outstretched and touching your forehead.
What did you do, Dirkir?
Glog, you're quite unaware of all this occurring. What are you doing?
Well, I heard Corinth's last words. So this beast, I'm picturing it as it's currently on its back right now, having tried to crush us. So I get up from having jumped off of it, and I'm going to pick up my sword, and I'm going to lay it on my arm, and I'm going to charge this thing like a knight on a horseback in a joust. I'm charging right for the wound, the slash part that Corinth made. I'm trying to like literally run into it.
Nice. Make a strength roll.
Okay.
I will tell you that it will not be getting its armor against your damage because you're attacking the wound.
8.
Okay, you will take some damage yourself, but you still inflict your damage, so roll your damage.
Cool. Alright, so this is D12 plus 4 plus 4. Plus 2D4. So 10 plus 2 plus 2 is 14.
Okay, you take 5 points of damage, ignoring armor as this poisonous blood washes over you. However, this creature gives out a massive roar as you finish it off. Describe how you fell this apocalypse dragon.
Alright, so I've had it. I'm like, enough! You've taken enough lives! And I just jam this sword right into it, and I'm holding it in there, and I'm like trying to churn up all its guts. Corinth said it was weaker on the inside, so I'm making a puree on the inside.
Okay, so Milo, as you're sort of looking down, you've obviously seen what's playing out below you. You see Glog shout, "You've taken enough lives." He runs forward, plunges his sword into this wound that Corinth made, and you see this black bile sort of as a wave washing over Glog. There's like bits of his skin burnt off and smoke rising from him. However, as this apocalypse dragon roars in flame in pain and rage, you see it looking at you, and you can see its eyes dimming as its head falls to the ground with a loud thump and the sound of trees exploding from their roots as it thrashes its head briefly and then lies still. A ragged cheer goes up from the defenders as the orcs seem to lose heart seeing their once mighty master being felled and the mental control it had over them being broken. They're now sort of like a disorganised mob, and the defenders of Amarana begin to mop them up, basically. A few hours later, we cut to the survivors.
Wait, I was just going to say, I'm going to get a fang from it as well. Of a magic
there
set
is just one thing that Corinth like to do before the time skip, if possible. Is that right, John?
That's absolutely fine.
So I'll kneel beside Dirkir, and I'll say, I do not understand what you did, but I understand the consequence. I was wrong about you. And what he does, he takes one of his arrows because he's dropped his sword from the fall, and he cuts off like a lock of his hair, and sort of bundles it up and puts it in Dirkir's hand and closes it. One of the few things I know from the history of the lineage I'm apparently from is when we meet a true friend, we share a lock of hair, sort of put it in the hand.
Okay, so a few hours later, we cut to the 3 survivors. The last of the orcs have been felled. The combat has ended, but the scars that have been inflicted on the Black Forest will take hundreds of years, if they heal at all. As you sat there, Milo, now back in your halfling form, you will do it shortly, contemplating what has occurred, the sprites, the nymphs, those woodland creatures that remain begin to emerge from their hiding places, creeping towards you, Milo. Some of them look at you, they all have tears in their eyes, and they say, "What shall we do now?"
He looks up from the tree stump he was sitting on. We should heal the man. Honor the dead.
And as you're saying that, Milo, you're sort of sitting amidst the remnants, what little fragments remain of the once great tree of visions. As you look around, you see what appears to be a small acorn resting in the middle of all this desolation, the promise of new life and maybe hope for the future.
Well, he takes solace in that.
And as we slowly fade to black, as Lloyd asked, I'm going to ask each of you to give me the epilogue for your characters. Now, since it's the end of the campaign, guys, feel free to take a few liberties and describe what happens to your characters. So first of all, I'm going to start with Dennis. Milo, the land is healed, but at a cost.
Milo's gonna spend time in the Great Forest, nurturing the little seed, trying to reconnect to the great flows of essence that hopefully are still found deep within the earth.
Indeed. And
He will
many...
work with the
Sorry,
woodlands creatures, the sprites, the dryads, the trends that remained. They will clean out the forest. They will gently nudge the humans out.
Indeed.
And
as we shift our view to a time in the future, many hundreds of years, we find in the renewed Black Forest, with its new tree of visions, an elderly halfling with a long beard, white with age but still vibrant with the energies of the natural land. He sits there under this tree telling the story of how the Black Forest once came near to complete destruction and was only saved by the bravery of his friends, as he tutors a new generation of druids and passes on his ancient wisdom to them. We then cut across to Sanya Celt.
It's about maybe 10 years after the incident. In Gallenmeet itself, there is a forge that has been opened, being worked on by one of the dwarfs that lives there, and he's sort of like slamming away quietly. And he sort of stops and like he reaches over and he goes, Rain, come in here. And a man walks in. He's got a very thick ginger beard, but he's got very wild eyes and looks around like sort of a little bit shy, like yes, hello, will you get to the forge already? And he starts like working. He goes, yes sir, no problem. And the dwarf sort of looks down at him and shakes his head and he goes, I can't believe that I even have you as an apprentice after all these years, but you work miracles when it comes to making armor, and that's literally the only reason I have you here. But if you don't back up your game, I'm going to fire you. And Rain looks up and goes, yes, please, anything. I just want to work and, earn a living like a normal person. And the dwarf takes a moment to remember just 4 years ago when he found Rain unconscious just outside Gallenmeet. He doesn't remember who he is or who he was before all this happened. He doesn't remember why he's there or what was there, but there's something he did say when he went down, something about live but have your bridges burned. The dwarf never understood what Rain meant by that, and Rain himself doesn't remember, but the man's fairly nice. The man works armor, and even though he seems quite shy, there's always a very dark fire somewhere behind his eyes. Nevertheless, he doesn't question it, and he just lets him work. And that's the prologue.
Thank you very much. And now we move on to Corinth, saved by the sacrifice of his friend. What is the epilogue for Corinth?
So Corinth, as you know, if you're watching this, he doesn't have any home currently. Most people you know are dead, and he sort of got caught up in events. So afterwards, he's going to find himself a loose end. So what he does to begin with is he inquires with Glag at the time on the right way to put Dirkir's body to rest in the style of Morg, since he has no idea what Morg does for burial rites. So maybe Rob could inform during his time. Then with Glag's permission, he will travel with him when he goes back to his homeland. And many years, maybe I'd say maybe 10, 15 years from there, he'll begin his own settlement near the homeland of Glag to try and start anew after the events. The things he's seen, the magic he saw, the creatures, it kind of left him a little bit like he wanted a more peaceful life away from all this, and it's what caused him to lose everything. And when he finally settles this little village, he calls it Sanya's Refuge, in honor of the instrument of Kavesh he had the privilege to see. And hopefully, possibly Milo, Glag, and others will visit him over the years. Him and his old fluffy owl.
I think that's an excellent epilogue. Thank you very much. So we'll now move on to Glog.
All right, so there's a bit of a montage scene as Glarg makes his way back to his homeland. It takes him, he deliberately takes a sort of zigzaggy path, hitting every populated center that's even remotely on the way. And he spends at least one night in each town regaling tales to the people of the other companions he traveled with, of the adventures they fought, of who lived and who died, of the courage and the sacrifice. And atypically, he doesn't try to play up his own part in it. He just tells it plainly. He just tells it straight, and making sure that everyone gets credit and their sacrifice is known. And he's sort of intimidates the people to make sure they repeat this story, to never let it be forgotten. On the way, he encounters Dowd, and he convinces her to come back to his homeland with him, eventually to become his wife. And so the final scene we see of Glarg is probably him and Dowd each astride a dire goat, and they're coming over the crest of a snowy ridge, and he's happy to be amongst the snow again. And he finds the elk tribe, and so he rides down with her into the valley to greet them.
I think that's an excellent end to Glog's story. So last but by no means least, we come to Dirkir.
Okay, so the ferry across feels very long. Not negatively so, but it gives Dirkir time to come to terms with his passing. Obviously, the ferryman does not speak to him. He just simply, very strangely, smoothly, just ushers the boat across this incredibly calm set of waters, almost as if it is more like mist rather than water. But then as he helps Dirkir out to the other side, and he rows back across in order to claim his next victim, Dirkir wanders across this wasteland only for it to open up into what appears to be a plateau, a huge plateau with these huge mountains in front of him, nothing like he's ever seen before, all these beautiful white fluffy clouds touching the sky, even bits of storm clouds with lightning and snow thundering around him. There's this huge amount of energy in the air, and also this large golden, he thinks like an archway possibly, or even a building, but still he goes in. It turns out to be a golden hall, and he is greeted by what appears to be an attendant of Moog himself, who immediately offers him his favorite beverage and says to him, Dirkir, while you were never granted the Lightfoot name, consider yourself one of them, and please enjoy your life now as a Lightfoot for eternity on the highest mountain in the world.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we close out with returning to the scene 100 years in the future. The elderly halfling, the high druid of the Black Forest, has just finished recounting his tale to his pupils. At the end of his long, long days, he is content. New life has been shepherded and the Black Forest has returned to full bloom. And as the elderly Milo Thistle, the high druid of Black Forest, lays his head down amidst the boughs of the renewed Tree of Visions for the last time, closing his eyes, surrounded by the people of his homeland, and breathes his last. He finds himself on muted shores. A barge ferries him across a great river, a hooded man poling the barge. On the other side of the river, he sees his friends, Sanya, Dirkir, Glog, and Corinth, waiting for him. As he climbs off the barge, eager to see his friends that he's not seen for so many years, he hears the strains of a lute begin to play in the background, and he sees a flamboyant figure wearing red clothes, smiling, also stepping out from behind Glog to meet him. And as he smiles and moves forward to embrace his friends that he's not seen for so many years, there is a flapping of wings, and a white raven lands on the shores next to him. And with the music filling the air and the laughter of these companions once more reunited, we fade to black. And that is where this session, and indeed this campaign, ends. Thank you very much for playing, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the campaign as much as I enjoyed running it for you.
100%.
Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
Good ending.
Well, we're done.
Really.
That's it, really, isn't it? I mean, that's it. Story's over.
Indeed. Thank you very much for playing, guys. Like I said, I had an absolute blast running it for you all. I hope you all enjoyed it, and the epilogues for your character. And I'm quite happy to chat for a bit afterwards. Obviously, we don't need to sort out any XP, but I'm quite happy to talk for a bit afterwards. But for now, I'm going to end the recording here.